All right, we made it to the end of the cadence, and the infamous breakup email is here. Though unfairly criticized because of poor breakup emails of the past, provided it's done correctly, the breakup email is still one of the most useful tools you have. If your breakup email sounds like a cringy comedy routine, anyone remember those emails that asked you if you got eaten by an alligator? Or if your email aggressively calls out your buyer for not returning your emails, we want to make some adjustments. The breakup email is really how you close the loop with respect while preserving your domain health and leaving the buyer thinking that the content was helpful even when they didn't respond. So here's the framework I want you to use. First, a helpful reset. Acknowledge that you've sent a few notes, then make the lowest friction assumption you possibly can make, which is timing. Not that they are ignoring you, not that they are busy, not that they don't care, but timing. That one line matters more than you think because it does not poke at the buyer's behavior. It simply acknowledges reality. The timing may not be right. Second, continue to add value. This is where you include a couple of resources that match the persona, something that helps them do their job better. A quick read, a link to a resource, or even a newsletter sign-up link. You do not need to go into the level of detail here that you did in the previous standalone nurture emails. Just tell them why you think they might be interested in each one of the resources in one sentence per resource. Think about 2 or 4 resources here to leave them with. And third, tell them what happens next. You, meaning the person sending the email, are going to get in touch later down the road, and if they need anything else in the meantime, you're here. And sign off. Subject line-wise, keep it simple and useful. Something like a few resources you might find helpful. Now, let's talk about social touches, because this is where cadences can move from a sales rep's greatest ally to sales rep's greatest headache. As I mentioned before, there is a lot that goes into social selling properly, which is well beyond the scope of this video series. But what I want you to do is shift the focus of the social touches away from ones that are just checking a box. For example, we might tell reps to like or comment on a post when that may not in fact be useful. Instead, here are 2 strategies I can offer. First, if your cadences still have view the buyer's profile as a step, I'd recommend you remove it and save the rep the hassle. Most buyers aren't on the edge of their seat, sadly, to see who looked at their profile. And in fact, without premium LinkedIn subscriptions, they'll only be able to see the last 5 people who looked at their profile. So let's say your seller looks at 8 a.m., and then the buyer does check their views, but not until 5 p.m., or 12 other people have looked at their profiles. Not helpful, right? As for the second tip, I'd recommend adding a social touch as the 4th touch in your cadence. Encourage your rep to send a connection request and write something that sounds like this. Hi, Leah. My name might look familiar as I've sent a few emails your way. I'd be grateful for the chance to tell you about how Samsales can be of support to Salesloft. If you're ever up for a chat, please let me know and I'll send a calendar invite along accordingly. Not only does this up the chances that someone will go back to read your emails, but the custom note will stand out in their connection request inbox amongst a sea of blank connection requests from other volume game sellers. Again, if you're a follower of mine or of Samsales, you'll know that I'm not a big advocate of cold calls, but I do accept that in some buyer personas, calls still work very well. And hopefully, after this, so do your emails. Now, let's briefly again revisit cold calls because they may be an important part of your cadence. If you believe cold calls are effective for you, I would again first encourage you to examine the data behind the volume of calls. Things like how many calls does it take to book a meeting? What are the percentage of calls that are converting to meetings? How often do those calls show up? How often do those calls reschedule? And then look at the pipeline volume and velocity from there. If you're in an industry where you already know that cold calls are effective, one of the best times to do a cold call is right after your first email. For any of you who are out there and who have already been working the phones, you know that most often you're spending a lot of the day reaching voicemails. This actually isn't a loss. Leaving a voicemail that is a pitch is unlikely to result in a callback. Leaving a voicemail instead that points to the first email you just wrote can be a great way to bring attention to your email and get a response in that channel instead of the phone. Try a script like this. Hi, Katie. This is Sam McKenna calling from #SamSales. I sent you an email titled, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego and Tesla, but also wanted to reach out here in case the phone is easier. Excited to share some ideas about how we can help Tesla with this specific value prop. Looking forward to talking more. Thanks. If you find that more calls are the way forward based on your data, then feel free to add more calls throughout the cadence, making sure that you leave no more than 2 voicemails. Your second voicemail should sound something like this. Hey, Katie. My name might sound familiar as I've emailed you a few times, but this is Sam McKenna again, and I'm part of the team at #samsales. I would so appreciate the opportunity to talk with you about how we can help with specific value proposition. If you'd be up for finding some time to chat in the future, let me know. A few last thoughts before we wrap up this series. First, grammar counts. If writing isn't your strength, get a peer or a leader to review your emails. In fact, this is one of the best ways you can use AI to your advantage by having it proofread your emails. Second, keep building your nurture library. Every time marketing ships a new asset, turn that into a nurture email your reps can actually use. That is how you scale and continue to provide your reps with valuable materials written in the sales voice. And finally, remember the point of the entire cadence. You are selling interest in a conversation, not trying to sell your full product suite over email. And if you adopt the same mentality once you've booked a meeting, which is to help your buyers solve challenges rather than simply pitch your products, I suspect you'll see a significant uptick in your results.